Housing is one of Wildstar's primary features. Each player has access to their own customizable plot of land, floating in the sky. You can customize a vast array of things, from the house and its interior to what surrounds it. The depth of this system is impressive indeed, and although you only start with a few basic customization options, as you progress through the game you'll unlock a crazy amount of choices for your plot. Throughout your Wildstar experience you will constantly return to your home, using it for resource generation, crafting, buffs, and even portals. You gain rested XP while at your house, even when logged off, allowing you to level faster. More objects in your house means more rested XP. To obtain your skyplot, you must be level 14. Visit your capital city, Thade for the Exiles, Ilium for the Dominion, and check your comlink. If you're of the appropriate level and you haven't already completed the quest, you'll be contacted by a Proto-star representative, who will take you to a special housing building. After browsing through some example buildings, you'll be teleported to your very own housing plot by using the housing hologram just outside. If you've already done the quest, you can still use this, remember. Once the short quest chain is completed, you'll also get the ability to teleport to your housing plot from anywhere in the world with a medium cooldown. After you've named your plot, you'll be presented with a large variety of tools. You'll have access to a new action bar, and each of the buttons on this bar will open a specific menu or do a specific thing. The first menu here is Landscaping. From here, you directly control what preset buildings, structures, and other general sites are upon your plot. Your skyplot has 7 plugs, otherwise known as plots, and in each one you can build specific things. The center plug is for your house. You'll probably want to start here. Using the menu on the right, you can select just what kind of house you want. If you're low level, you'll only have access to a few basic racial houses, and it will cost you a small amount of money. As you level up, you'll gain access to larger racial houses which come with a second floor. If you pre-ordered the game, you'll have access to a spaceship house. If you pre-ordered the game and can't seem to use it, then make sure you've redeemed the house. To do so, go to your account inventory in the bottom left and bind the deed to the exclusive Piglet house to your character. Don't worry, this won't use up the deed, it'll just give your character a copy. Activate it from your inventory and you'll gain access to the spaceship. The other plugs around the house come in 2 different varieties. The 4 plugs that surround the left and right side of the house are small plugs, otherwise known as enhancements, within which you can build all kinds of things. Barbecue pits, crafting stations, statues, challenges, dungeons, resource nodes, all kinds. Most of these won't be available at low level, and almost all of them require a fab kit. This is an item made by the architect profession, bought from reputation vendors, or found as rare drops in the world, that are used to create certain enhancements. When you use the fab kit to create one of these enhancements on a plug, the fab kit is consumed. If you then destroy or replace the enhancement, you'll have to obtain the fab kit again, so be wary. Regardless of what fab kits you have available or what level you are, you'll have access to a few things. Hit the Show Buildable filter button at the top to show what you can create. You may notice that some of these, especially the resource enhancements, are tiered. As you level up, you'll be able to create higher tiered resource nodes, which give you higher level crafting resources. I very much suggest getting an enhancement for a resource that your profession can use. It will be very helpful. The 2 large plugs that appear behind your house are large, specific enhancements. These can range from challenges that reward loot and housing items to special biome enhancements that create portals to zones. This way you can turn your housing plot into a portal hub. Some of these portals can even go to raids. Now, one more note about fab kits. Ones that have a use, like the crafting station, resource nodes, or portals, require repair after a certain amount of time. You'll see which ones need repair by the wrench icon over them. Just hit the repair button on the left and pay a small fee to completely repair the enhancement and make it available for use again. As far as I know, leaving an enhancement alone without repairing it does not remove it, it is just unusable. This second menu is the remodeling menu. It changes depending on whether you're outside or inside, but the basic functions are very similar. Using this menu, you can customize aspects about the house. You can change the roof, walls, the entryway, the door, and the sky if you're outside, and if you're inside, you can change the ceiling, trim, walls, floor, and the lighting of the house. Each change costs money or renown, which is a currency you gain by doing content with other players. You can preview what each change will look like before buying, and you can use the small menu on the right to remove various previews if you wish. Closing the menu will also remove all previews. By hitting the button near the top right, you can access your residence settings. Here, you can rename your house, share resources with others, and change the rules of visitation. You can set it to public for everyone to find, neighbours only, which is a second kind of friend list for players that can visit your house, or roommates only. A roommate is a specific kind of neighbour that can be set by finding the neighbour in the social tab, hitting modify, and then pressing set to roommate. The roommate can then access and even edit your house at will. The final setting is private. No one can visit your house if you do this. The third menu is probably where you'll spend a lot of time. This is your crate, which is essentially an inventory for your housing items. You can have up to 800 decor items in your crate, and if you start getting close to the limit, you can delete items by clicking on them and pressing the delete button. Within the crate, you can search for specific items and filter them by type. By clicking on an item, you get a preview screen, showing you what it looks like. All of these items are designed for decor, and tend to be small details that you can place in the world, much like a level designer. We'll go over placing things in the world soon. The fourth menu is the housing item vendor. This is very similar to the crate, except the items within you don't actually own. You can buy them though. Just like remodeling, each item costs either money or renown, depending upon its size and detail, and you can preview what they look like by clicking on them. Additionally, by right-clicking on the world, you can place the item without buying it, allowing you to evaluate whether or not you want it on your plot before buying. If you place one of these items in the world and decide you like it where it is, you can press the buy button, which will immediately buy the item and place it down where it is now. If you hit purchase instead, it will deposit the item into your crate. A good tip for the housing item vendor is to use the can build filter to see what you can afford. As you level up, you'll gain access to new items, so always check back as you gain levels to see what else you have available. The fifth menu is a placed decor list. Here you can see what items you've actually placed in the world. Be careful with this menu. There is a button here called Send All to Crate, which if you press and then hit yes, will remove all of the placed items and put them back into your crate. This can be disastrous if you hit this accidentally, so be careful. Don't waste all those hours by hitting this button. The sixth button isn't a menu, it's a toggle. While this is toggled on, you can edit your plot by right-clicking on items already placed in the world. While toggled off, you can't. This can be helpful for avoiding accidentally clicking on things. Finally, the seventh button is Escape. This teleports you back to the small platform at the start of your plot. If you ever get stuck, use this button to escape. So we've gone over what each of these menus do, now let's talk about actually placing decor items in the world. Find an item you want in your crate or purchase it from the housing vendor first, then select it and right-click on the game world. Your item will appear. You can use the green markers to rotate it, and you can left-click and drag to move the item around the world. It will automatically stick to whatever surface it's on, and some items are designed to hang on walls, so they may look a little bit strange if you place them on the floor first. When you're happy with the position of your object, hit place on the crate and it will be placed in the world for all to see. If you ever want to edit it, just right-click on it. Hitting the button in the center of the green markers will toggle the prop menu on and off. From here, you can access more advanced options. The slider at the bottom allows you to scale the item to either 5 times smaller or 5 times bigger, and anywhere in between. The button on the top right sends the item back to your crate. The button in the center allows you to link items together, so that when you change the scale, position, or rotation of one object, the linked objects also change. Imagine if you have a table covered in items. By linking the items to the table, you can then move the table and all of the items at once. The button on the left activates a new advanced menu. This can be complicated, but we'll go through it bottom to top and it can be very powerful. At the very bottom of this menu is an advanced mode. Toggling this on will provide you with a whole bunch of new markers around the object. These allow you to move the object along any axis, including into the air, and allows you to rotate however you'd like as well. This also disables the item's snapping to the world, so you can no longer drag it by left-clicking. Once you toggle advanced mode on, it will always be on for all items, so if you ever want to go back to dragging and simple rotation, just uncheck it. Healthy use of both of these types of moving will be helpful. Next up are the transform buttons. This is basically copy and paste. The 3 strangely marked buttons stand for position, rotation, and scale. By checking them, you're telling the game you want it to copy those properties of the selected item when you press copy. Then select another item and press paste, and the new items will copy the traits you selected of the old item. Be aware that if you want to copy and paste multiple items, you'll have to recopy each time, as the copy is only saved once. Next up are a few basic tools. You can send the item to the crate, delete it, and toggle on or off the move and rotate markers around the object. These are just nice, convenient tools. Next up is the scale. It's just like the scale slider near the object in the world. Next is the rotation section. You can use the red, blue, and green arrows here to rotate the object, and by clicking the sections closer to the tips of the arrows, you can rotate faster. You can undo all rotation by pressing the X button. The 3 text boxes allow for incredibly detailed rotation. By changing the number, you can change the rotation. This allows for pixel-perfect rotation of objects. Finally, the move section. This works just like the rotation section, except it's for movement. The further sections allow you to move the object faster. The green arrow in particular changes the Z axis, which is how high off the ground the object is. Again, the text boxes allow for complete pixel-perfect positioning. If you have things like walls and floors, you can position them to be completely lined up using this system. So those are the basics of housing in Wildstar. You can use the list of housing plugs on the wiki page this video is embedded on to browse through different fab kits, including their costs and descriptions. Each one has its own page, complete with images of what each enhancement or house looks like. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find a link to the wiki page in the description below. That's it for now. Thank you very much for watching.